Hello, everybody. Okay, that was strange. Yes, it remains strange. Some toy from my son is showing up. Welcome to lesson 3. My apologies of being a couple of minutes late. I was busy with cleaning up my desk a little bit because it was full with papers. I'm still like organizing everything to, you know, documents for renovations work and stuff like that. So, um, but everything is now um, documents has been processed, so now I have to wait. So I cleaned up a little bit, and I suddenly checked my watch and was like, "Oh my god, it's time!" So here I am. Let me check first if I'm actually live. This is lesson 3, which is about mindset. What it is exactly and why it is important. Let me check first if we are. I have to silence down my voice. Um, yes, we are live. Okay, very good, very good. Give me a few seconds. Um, I've prepared some information. It's easier. So, mindset is when I first started in the online world. Um, I remember that mindset was something that been discussed a lot, especially if you want to build an online business. And I didn't, my English is I'm not native English, so I didn't really got all the fuss what it was all about. Um, where is it? Yeah, my apologies. I'm looking for my document. Mm, come on, where are you? Ah, here we go. Okay. Pom, pom. 1 second. If this loading, show me a menu. Okay, here we go. So good. So when I started in the online world, it was really, I had like the mindset of everybody who is new is like, I'm here. I want to make money online because I need money. I need extra money. I'm doing this for money. Um, it's a starter's mindset. It's a good mindset, and that's why I want to talk about like why are there so many type of mindset. There are many type of mindsets. I mean, and everybody has a mindset. If you're before I was thinking about um, when I was young, for example, already had this mindset like, playing all the time and not, just having fun and playing and sleeping and eating and having as much fun as possible. Then when I went to high school, it more and more was like, I'm bored. I don't like to study. It's boring in the classrooms. So I really had this mindset like, I don't know what I want to do with my life when I grow up, because you already have, as a kid, at some point as a kid, you have to know what you want to do, when you grow up. But that's really hard because in the beginning, perhaps you want to be a fireman or like when I was a child, I really liked the movies of Indiana Jones and stuff like that, and Indiana Jones and Tomb Raider. So these were all like some kind of archaeology. So I was really like, yeah, I want to become an archaeologist, and then I went to high school, but the studies were it got instantly like really serious, and you had to study a lot and you had to learn a lot, and it was like from lower grade to high school, it was immediately a big difference. Like stop playing, being serious, learning. So it's really hard with your mind to have like a good mindset, or to have a positive mindset about life, because you see your parents, they're working hard. And I almost never saw my father because he was working all the times. And so, and then at some point you want stuff. Okay, I mean, you're like in my country at 16 years old, you're allowed to drive a scooter, you know uh, so, but so I wanted the scooter because I saw my friends had one, and then then it started. Then it was like, you're old enough, get a job during the weekends, and you can pay for it yourself. So that was already like, oh, okay. So you know, and your mindset keeps changing and changing and changing. And if your mindset at the moment is right now like, I'm happy with what I have a house, I have a kid, I have a son, I have a family, I have a job, a full time job. I love my full time job. It's not hard, and I'm never, or almost never tired. I'm always happy. Then, remain in that mindset, and keep doing what you're just doing. But at some point, if you're like having this thoughts of like, I'm tired of doing this, um, then your mind is creating it. Okay, like, I'm tired of doing this, and you need something else. So that's what it's about, mindset. If I want to go like really pure, what is mindset? Like, I googled it, and so according to Google search, this is what it means. So what is the mindset? And it says a mindset is a series of self perceptions or beliefs people hold about themselves. These determine behavior, outlook, and mental attitude. For example, believing you're either intelligent or unintelligent. That was my problem as well. I hate I didn't hate school when I was young, but I hated to spend time um, after school for school. And that's why I'm not working. That's why I don't have a desk job, because I know, um, I can see at my work, I can see with my sisters and stuff like that. When they are off with work, they still are working. And I hated that. I mean, as a child, when I went to high school, when not a child, a teenager, my apologies, I hated that. I really didn't want it to, if I was at school, then I had to spend time at school. And I was fine with that. Like, I mean, okay, we have to go to school. So you go to school, you spend time at school, and then you have, tests. And but that's the problem. I mean, you had homework, so you had to spend time at school, at home. Then you have like tests and high, school exams and stuff like that. So you all had to spend like your free time. I mean, the only free time you had in life, you had to spend at school. And lots of people's, and you can bring it back to these days right now again. People don't have free time anymore. So you're just like keep being busy. Life keeps you busy, your family keeps you busy, your kids, your children keeps you busy. These are like good busy. Life keeps busy, that's good busy. Then your job keeps you busy. Perhaps yeah, you still have to do some stuff when you're home for your job, and those are stuff that so that's the mindset. You're sick and tired of stuff, and you're putting it yourself in your head like, I'm either intelligent or unintelligent. And because of those things that I had to do, like, I didn't want to do those things, so I claimed myself of being unintelligent. I always said, I'm dumb anyway, so why should I bother? Why should I try my best at school or outside school to succeed in school? So I gave myself the stamp on my head, poof, dumb. And I'm bloody honest about this. Okay, I just, when I was at school, I loved it. Talking with people, perhaps feeling bored during the classrooms, but still, the teachers, they try to keep it entertaining, so it wasn't boring. You always have a few teachers that just like straight to the head, and those classes were boring. But I went like, we have like, A degrees, B degree, we have like we have three kinds of difficulty degrees in high school, which is like here we call it ISO, ASO, BSO, and ASO, TSO, and BSO. So ASO is like the common secondary school, which is like where you can learn, which is, for the smarter people, the people who doesn't have to learn a lot to do a lot. If you finish like the end of the years at the ASO school, or the ASO grades, like I say it, then if you finish that school, you cannot take a job right away. I mean, it's determined to go to university. You have to keep learning because you have to do something. So that's the ASO. So I started in ASO because I had this thing about becoming an archaeology, but then I saw like during the classroom I learned a lot, but we had lots of homework, and then we had like every week tests we had to learn for. And I mean, I still was like, school is school, and when I'm out of school, it's my free time. So I went, so I quickly, I think my first year was an ASO, then I went to TSO, which is a technical, which means that um, you can go for which is more like the accountancy, or the healthcare section. What else we have? Um, like becoming a plumber, electrician. I mean, all those things is the TSO, the technical parts, which is when you finish high school. You know, you have like a degree, and you can actually go do that job. I went, I did that in the second grade, the third grade. I moved out to another school. It's still the same, not feeling like doing lots, because each time you have to learn outside the schools, and I didn't felt like doing that. So fourth, I think the first trimester of fourth, I had to redo my fourth grade because I messed up a whole year, because that year I choose a different direction and it was too hard. But anyway, so I really was like, going down, and I ended in the BSO, which is like you know, I can't really say I stamp it myself as being dumb, but BSO is still like high school, but it's really more, how to explain it. It's just less difficult, you have less classes. Like, for example, you don't have any physics, and stuff like that. So you still have the basic needs you need to learn from school. But then usually, if you want to still learn further, then you have to do a seventh grade, and if you succeed in the seventh grade, then you can go to the university, for example. But you know these are usually then the people that they work in factories. I'm working in a factory, so because I didn't really have like an end goal in mind. I just went to school. I wanted to be over with it, and I wanted to start working. So you're giving yourself a stamp, and that's the mindset. It's your behavior. So how do you behave? And because how you behave is what goes inside of your mind. I mean, if you're having a bad day, if you get up, if you slept very unwell, and or you stood up and you just feel like meh, it's inside. It's a mindset. Then a second thing I found of Google is mindsets. A strong and positive one is essential to developing healthy self-esteem. And that's something that, if you're becoming an online entrepreneur, if you want to build an online business, if you want to make money online, or just, if you want to, especially in the online world, okay, and also in the entrepreneur world, you need a strong mindset, because you have to remind yourself and why you're doing it. But at the same time, you can say, yes, but I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm not building an online business, and I'm working 2 3 jobs, and I still have to be strong in it, because I have to keep reminding myself why I'm doing 2 or 3 jobs. That's very true. But when you're working for a boss and you're doing jobs, you're getting paid automatically. Okay. I mean, you're doing 8 hours, you're getting paid for 8 hours. That's a job. When you become an entrepreneur, when you want to build a business, when you want to build an online business, you're not paid by the hour. Okay. Yes, if you are a plumber and you go work for somebody, you charge by the hour. But if you're an entrepreneur, like, you're the CEO, you're not, and especially an online entrepreneur, you're everything. Okay. You're your own employer, but you cannot pay yourself, you know, especially not in the start. You can't pay yourself per hour. And that's why you need a strong mindset, because you have to work, you have to put time into it, you have to put energy into it. But in the beginning, there won't be any results. You won't make $1,000 after your first day, after your first week. I mean, there are people who are making $1,000 or $2,000 after their first month, but most people, it take longer time. And especially in the online world, I mean, if you here in my country, you open a business, and local people are visiting and stuff like that, and then you're promoting a little bit, you're getting reviews from local people, you have a website, and then people talk to people, so others start coming, and okay, yes, you're getting paid. But don't forget, if you're opening a business, you have bills to pay. So the chances are very big that the people that are visiting you aren't enough to pay the bills. So you can say, yes, I'm making money. No, you're losing money, because you have to spend money yourself and time to keep your business up and running, to keep it going. Exactly the same in the online world. So mindset is the most important, a part of the most important factor of building an online business and making money online. It is the mind that operates your body. It's what we think that ultimately manifests into results. If you keep saying to yourself, it won't work, it won't succeed, I cannot do it, I'm not able to do it, I mean, you won't succeed. You won't be able to do it. If you're meeting a girl, for example, if you're young and you want to meet a girl or a man, and you want to talk to him, but you're afraid, and you can say, he will never be with me. I mean, you are like, how do I say it? You're like streaming it out. I mean, if it's in your mind, then you will behave like it, and because you behave like it, you're pushing everything away. So that's why mindset is important. If you are in love, if you want to date with that person, but you think like, it's out of my league, it's nothing for me, you will act like it. Okay. You won't be um you won't be um damn, I lost the word, even in my own language. You won't be direct, you won't be open, you will be like a little bit of timid, you will be cautious and stuff like that. And that's because it's here in the mind what you're thinking. Is my sound working? I hope my sound is working. Let me see. I'll check very fast if my sound is working. Because I spoke a lot. Oh, no, 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 no. What? Watch live. Sound is good. Okay. Hey, Garrett, thanks. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm watching my document, so I cannot really see if anyone is on. Let me check. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, okay, okay. Good, good, good. Let me share my screen, actually. That might be work even better. Share. Share screen. Internet. This one. Share. Let's see if it works. Yes, it works. Okay. Good, 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 good. Welcome, Garrett. Thanks for joining the live. Great to have you here. So, like I said, It's the mind that operates your body. It's what we think that ultimately manifests into results. So once you get this part, you're going to take charge of your own world. I mean, and that's what is how I become, a much happier person. And I mean, I think, I don't know if my wife is seeing it, like how I change. I should ask her, really. I don't know, but I'm hearing it from my colleagues at work, um, that, like, in the beginning when I was there, you know, it's like, you have to do, yeah, if you want to make money, you have to get a job. So I was there, doing the job, um, and you could really see it. In the beginning, I was enthusiastic because everything is new, and I like learning new things. But like after a while, everything became like routine, repetitive. Though there is a lot, in where I'm working, there's a lot of things to learn. Okay, I mean, it's big. It's lots of mental work, lots of knowledge. But I'm a quick learner, so like after a year, you know, I was done with it. So, and now I'm like, because of my mindset, because of being positive in life, because of everything I've learned, and how to look at life, and seeing my goals and reaching my goals, I've become much happier. I'm even taking the bike to my work now, um, and it was like, raining. Not yesterday. Yeah, yesterday I had luck. It was dry when I went to work with my bike. When I had to go home again, it was dry too. But like Monday, it was raining like extremely. I could just take the car, but I just put on some rain clothes, and I just went off, because just music in my ears and just driving, because I didn't care really if it was raining or not, because I'm just I'm happy in my life. Okay, I've got everything I want. Um, yes, of course. I would love to have more money. Everybody, there is a fly here. I'm sorry. Everybody wants more and more money, but you know, it's 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 here. It's in the head. If you're focused on one thing, but you have to focus on everything. You have to focus not only on money, but you have to focus on your feelings, your wife, your husband, your family, your children, how you look into life, what you think about life, what you think about your past, what you think about your current being, and how you want to evolve. So it's all about, that's all important. So once you get this part, you're going to take charge of your own world, and that's really, happening with me right now. I'm really taking charge of my own world. Does that mean that I don't have bad luck anymore? Yes, I have bad luck. I mean, I spent, I think around, I don't know how much euros already, 500, 600, 700 euros only this year at my bike, because I have like issues with my bike, and I thought it was fixed, but like yesterday, I see this issue started coming back again, so I will have to go back to the bike shop. But does that, means that everything collapses inside here, and I'm like, oh no, not again, and now I have to be grumpy all day, and looking bad, and seeing everything black? No, no, it's just life, and you have to accept it, that there are good stuff going in life, there are bad stuff going in life. But and bad stuff that happens in life, fix them, turn them into good things. So you're no longer being a victim of circumstances or a victim of any kind, because you're going to take responsibility for your life and the results you get. I'm taking responsibility for my bike because I already have it like 2 years and a half, a little bit over 2 years, but I never drove with it. And if I would have started driving with it in the beginning, I would have noticed much sooner that the bike had issues or problems. But now it's like out of guarantee. Since June, I had started issues with my bike since March, April, I think. So I went to this one bike repair shop, and he said it was, I don't know the term, the words in English, but he said it was something, at the back, at the end where the chain is on. So he changed that, that fixed it. But after like 1 month, the same thing happened again. So he checked again. Then he changed that thing again, including with the change. Then after 1 week or 2 week, it started happening again and again and again. And like after 4 times or 5 times, I had enough of it. So then I changed to another bicycle, bike shop, bike repair shop. So, I'm taking responsibility of my own life, because if I had to know it sooner, it would still be in guarantee. So I'm responsible of my results. Okay. It's not my fault that I have issues with my bike, but I could have fixed it much faster, much earlier, much sooner, if I would have, just drove with it. So I don't have to blame, like, it's the factory. No, because I had 2 year guarantee on it. So if I would have driven with it, drove with it, driving with it, I don't know, one of the two words. In the beginning, I would have noticed it earlier, sooner. I would have been able to do something with it. So I cannot blame anybody else but me. You will be in control of how you think, how you feel, how you act, and therefore the results that you get. Does this means that I am never angry? Does this means I'm never sad? Does this means I'm never, grumpy when I get up? I mean, I'm standing up every morning grumpy just because I love sleeping, but I have a son and I'm working in shifts. So 1 week I'm doing the morning shift, the other week I'm doing the afternoon shift. When I'm doing the morning shift, I don't see my son until he's done with school, because then I can pick him up, which means that my wife takes him to school. So the agreement is, of course, then when I'm doing the afternoon shifts, I'm doing, taking the kid to school. So I have to get up, at 7:30. So, which is early for me. So I'm a little bit grumpy. I'm making coffee. I'm taking care of my son. But that's just a little bit in the morning, and then I'm awake. I'm up and running, and I'm happy again. This means I'm never angry. As of course I'm angry when I'm driving my car. Most of the times when I'm driving my car and I see other people how they drive too slow, or they don't use their flashlights when they have to, or it takes them too long to, when it hits green, to start engaging. Of course I'm getting mad, but those are just like impulses that daily life gives you, but it does not control you know my total me. I can still say like, okay, let's just relax. Okay, he's gone. Let's me drive continue. You have to be able to keep your life and your mindset in hand, in control. But it's not always easy. That's very true. And this is very important. So now you can say, how do I do all of this? Okay. I mean, how can you become happier in life? How can you become positive in life like you do? What's what changed? And I mean, this changed for me. Okay. We need to set goals, and not just any goals. We need to set a goal, a dream, a vision. I mean, my goal used to be like the weekends. That was my goal when I was young. Yes, it's weekend again. Damn, it's Monday again. I have to go to work again. Then my next goals was like planning to go on a holiday, planning stuff, going on a holiday. Um, but that was really it. Yes, I wanted a child in the future, and I wanted. I never thought I would marry. Actually, I always said I won't marry. Just living together and having children is enough. But my wife wanted to marry, and I love her, so why not? I didn't bother with it really. For me, it's nothing changes. For me personally, my feelings don't change. It doesn't change how I look at her. We're just married right now. Um, but the moment I started in this online world, why I started in the online world is because I needed more money, like right now. And usually then you're too late. because you cannot like make money right now when you start online. But that's when you enter it, and then you start like fantasizing, dreaming. And that's like I say, we need to set a goal, a dream, and then you start like dreaming, what if this actually works? What if I'm starting making thousands and thousands of dollars, and like in the next year I can quit my job, and I don't have to work anymore. It would be crazy. So you start dreaming. Okay, you start dreaming big, and always too big. Like I want to quit my job in the next 6 months, and or in the next or in the next month, or within 3 months, and I want to be a millionaire. I want to be a billionaire. I want to buy this new car and this new laptop and this new smartphone or iPhone. So you mean you're dreaming too big, but it's never too big, because that's how we can set goals. That's how we can work towards goals. And then the other problem is that, um, you know, if your focus is on the money, like I said, and only focus on, like in my way, if like um, Facebook organic marketing, how to get clients, how to get leads. If you focus only sell, 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 you will get the opposite, because, like I said already, the mindset. If your focus is wrong, um, well, this doesn't really compare with what I said earlier, but this is actually true. Okay, um, the mindset works like, if you're saying like, okay, if you want to date with someone and you're afraid to ask of it because you think she's out of, or he or she is out of your league, you can say like, yeah, and you're like transferring those vibes, those moves, and you're acting like it as well. So in that case, you're like really showing that, um, and it will never, almost never happen that she or he will date you. But this can happen too. If you focus on selling, 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 you can say, I'm focusing on making money and selling. But it's wrong, because especially if you're like, in the online marketing world, if you're focusing on selling, 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 that means you're like, dealing with people, like you and me. And if you think about people, what do you want? Do you want to get helped? Like, for example, if I have someone who is like, like with my renovations, for example, if they come to my house, I take them to the place that stuff have to be done, for example, what has to be changed, big stuff. Okay, I mean, if it's small stuff, I'm renovating it myself. But like big stuff that has to happen, in the attic, for example, with the roof, stuff like that. If I touch something, it can collapse or anything. So I rather not touch with that. So if you're entering, you go up and you say, okay, yes, and you're not even discussing with me what you will do or what will be. You just say, okay, you calculate, and then you say, okay, thank you very much. I will go now. I've seen everything, and I will send you, my price. I won't buy from that guy, because he just came to my house. He never engaged in a conversation with me. He never discussed with me like what his ideas are, what his thoughts are, what he wants to do, what he might do, what he thinks. He just measures, take notes, and he's off again. So I'm not comfortable with that. And it's the same thing online, with an online business. People have to be comfortable with you, especially if you want to sell. If you're making a store, an online store, then your website has to, or your store has to be comfortable with the people. If people click on your store, it has to be inviting and stuff like that, giving enough information to what do they get, what do they expect, how long does it take till they get it, any, if they don't like it, can they return it? I mean, the more information you give, the more people will be comfortable, the more trust will be built. If people go to your shop and it only shows like a picture of an item, how much is inside, and a button with the price and a button to buy, then the chance is pretty high that people I mean, there will always be people who buy because they're looking for that product exactly, and they see the price is lower than somewhere else. But people who are like, looking for information, they might hit on your product because it gave the information. It's like, okay, yes, this is what I need. But if it's just the name of the product with the picture, they have no clue what it is. So you will not make any money. So you have to focus on goals. Okay. And you can say, yes, but money is a goal. And yes, that's correct. Money is a goal, but it cannot be your only goal. So for me, at some point, it was like, at first it was like, making money, making fast money, making quick money. Um, and what happens when you focus on that? You make quick money with luck. Sorry, there's a fly here. So you're making quick money with luck. And then all of a sudden, you lose all the money or you lose a lot of money. Um, and then you say, oh, damn it, what happened? It's first it worked, now it doesn't work. So you keep doing it, you keep doing it. But it's like this: you get, you lose, you get, you lose, you get, you lose. And in the end, at some point, you get like break even. So you make a lot of money, suddenly you lose a lot of money. You say, that's strange. First I made a lot, now I lost a lot. But once you're setting goals, then you can say, like, okay, instead of focusing on making a lot of money, why not focusing on making, stable on money? And with stables means, like, you can say, okay, I want to make, like, I don't want to get rich like by next year, but I want to make money online that's, helps me pay the bills. I mean, even if it's only $50, at some point you start thinking like that, like, I don't care if it's only $50 a month, it's $50 a month that you make by doing stuff online. The positive thing is, if you do it online, you can still, be with your friends and with your family, because if it's online, you just need a laptop or your smartphone. So you have to set goals and you have to focus towards that goals. Your focus can be, yeah, I want freedom and I want this and I want that, but you can, start making smart goals. Like, what do you need instantly? I mean, do you just need, how much do you need right now to survive? I mean, okay, to survive, not to be, general and common that you don't have to worry about anything. No, how much do you need to survive? And it can be, I only need like perhaps $50 or $100 per month. That's your goal. Okay, work towards that $50 or $100 per month. That's a small goal. And then you can say, usually people say, then you have to put a date on it. But the problem is, if you say, like, yes, I need, my date is like next month, I want to make $50 to $100 per month by next month, and you don't hit the goal, I mean, your motivation, your mindset will go like this. You will feel so dumb. You will feel burnout completely. And you will just, throw in the towel, because you said to yourself, okay, I set it a date, I set it a small goal. I mean, it's not working. I give up. So it's not really good to set a date. It's good to set a date on it because it keeps you motivated. But if you reach the date and you fail the date to reach it, then you have to start reflecting. Then you have to look like, okay, what have I done? I have done all of this. Did you do the same every day, or did you do something else every day? Then you have to see what made me results. Result doesn't have to be monetary results. Results can be like people reaching out to you, like almost making, $50, almost making $100. It can be like, learning phase, but you have to reflect. Like, okay, what did I do? What went possibly wrong? How can I fix this? Okay, and then you say it again, and perhaps you say, okay, I did the same thing for a whole month and it didn't work. I got nothing. Then something is wrong with what you're doing. So work on it. So you have to focus on goals. Now there are many different goals. Most people have goals that they know how to achieve, like buying a new car. I mean, if you goal it, like I said, going on holiday each year, or the weekend. I mean, these are goals, but it's not. It doesn't inspire you to change. insights to change how you think, how you act, how you feel, it will never change. I mean, you will just remain the same person. And like it's written here, it's a bad goal because you know how to achieve it. And you will not put extra work to build a successful online business for achieving this goal. So the next type of goal are short-term goals. And you know that if you do the things with your plan, you could accomplish this. You mentioned the word here, you could accomplish this, which means that if you're doing, if your plan is good, but you know the strategy you're doing is not good, then you won't accomplish this. But it's short-term goals, and I mean short-term goals are good. But if you only have short-term goals, then you will also give up, not given. You will also give up. You won't continue doing what you're doing, because if you reach your short-term goal, then you say, yes, good, finished, done, and that's it. So these are short-term goals we are working on, and we reflect to see what we did not do enough to get there, or what we have done exactly to get there. But the end goal is why we started doing this. And the end goal is, like I said, is the moment you start, like you want to be rich, you want to spend time with my family. In the beginning it was all about money, but after time, you have a son, they grows, and you see you don't, I mean, you're working too much, you don't have time to spend with your family. So you're like breaking down your end goal, like, okay, why do you want to be rich? To spend time with my family. But why do you want to spend time with my family? Because at this moment I'm working constantly, like, offline at my job, and then when I get home I was working constantly online doing stuff. So you know I didn't just got the time to spend with my family, and I'm missing out on them. And so then you have to say, like, why are you missing out on them? And then like, why are you missing out of time? Why are you doing this? But that's because I'm not having enough money to, well, just have enough money to pay the bills, but that's it. There is not no money to do anything extra. There is no money to go to the carnival, like I'm doing right now with my son. There was no money for that. There was no money to go on holidays. There was no money to do renovations. um, and then when I could pay the monthly bills, but we also have, like, yearly bills. So when these guys popped up, it was a nightmare. I had to searching and doing to get money. So you have to break down, like, your big end goal. Like, okay, the end goal is being rich, or and that's how we all start. But break it down. So, and then these last two goals are what we focus on, because my last my end goal is being able to travel whenever I want, to wherever I want. And that's a big one, because right now at my job, for example, especially this year, I have this issue. I want to be home, so I'm having leaves. I think I had this year like 20 days that I could take, and then like 6 extra days. And then because I'm working there more longer than 5 years, I also have an ancient, I don't know how to word this in English, an ancient ancient time, something like that. Every 5 years I get 1 day extra that is paid. So, but I was like, I want to spend more time with my family. So when do I have to take holidays? When do I have to ask for days off? Is when there are school holidays. So I know, like, okay, July and August here in Belgium, it's 2 months. I mean, I know I cannot ask 2 months. Plus, if I would ask 2 months, I wouldn't have any days left during the rest of the year. So I was like, okay, I will take the Easter holiday. So I wanted to ask for the Easter holiday. What happens was that I was too late, because a lot of people had asked for the Easter holiday, and because so many people asked for the Easter holiday, it got they applied it, they got accepted. But when I asked it, they couldn't accept my leave, because there weren't enough employees anymore, for the work. So I was then like, okay, No problem. So then, I just like kept saving my leaves. But like, I think in, I don't know, July, August, I was like, yeah, okay. So I didn't could take the Easter holiday. So let me take the um, the fall holiday, which is in the end of next month, which is another like 1 week. So I was like, yeah, okay, let me take that one. Now there's issue again. So do you know what I mean? So there's issue again. So I'm not sure I will have it. So I'm not, then there is my wife who has to, who hasn't with her work. So for me it's important. So this is my end goal, is being able to travel whenever I want. And that is then, whenever my son doesn't have to go to school, because I want him to go to school. School is important. You learn, you grow, especially as a child. um, you learn a lot. So school is important. But you know when he's done with school, he doesn't have to go to school. I want to go on holiday. I want to book this place, go to there, book this place, go to there, book this place, go to there. I don't have to worry about, do I have the money for it? But more importantly, like, will I get days off from my work? And then the third, as well as like, will my wife be able to come with me? So the end goal of me is like, being able to travel whenever I want to, wherever I want, which means that um, I need to be able to, like, don't have a job anymore, uh, live full time online, and but as well, retire my wife as well, which means I need to make a lot of money every month, because I have to like supplement two incomes. And don't forget, it's not just the incomes, but it's like, the yearly money that comes too. So I make so much per month, for example, but like once a year I have like an end year's pr- premium. Um, I get like an end of years, extra money, and then like in June I get like a holiday money. So that's also money I lose. So from her side and from my side. So I need lots of money to cover that, to still be able to pay for everything. So these are goals. Those are good goals, those are like the end goals. And with the end goals, you have to start creating small goals to work towards them. So you need to have a good mindset for an online business. And that is why, mindset is important in the online world. But not just mindset, also the strategy. I mean, if you have this mindset, but the strategy is not good, then it's like I said, you have to start reflecting. That's also happening with the mindset, and not giving up. Because if you give up, the moment you give up, like I said here, I mean, also means you should not fear failure or being afraid of making mistakes. Because building an online business is like life. Making mistakes is a circle of life. You learn from these mistakes and make sure they don't happen anymore. Failing at something doesn't make you a failure. It's only failure when you stop. So I mean, so many people are failing with things. um I think, I don't remember anymore what it was. Something I tried doing, and it didn't work, and it didn't work, and it kept me, busy for days, for weeks, and suddenly it worked. I mean, so I was failing constantly, but I wasn't a failure because I didn't quit. It's like my online journey. I made money, I lost money. I made money, I lost money. I made money, and suddenly I lost more money than I made. I could give up, and then I was a failure. But I was like, hell no, no. I keep going. I keep going because this is what I want. This is what I need. These are my goals. And especially, with the online marketing, with really focusing on building my online business. Because before I was like, just making money online. I wasn't really focusing on building a business. But now I'm focused on building a business. And, it's more important because, you know, it doesn't mean you don't have any results, that there are not any results. So each mistake you make is another step closer to your end goal. And then something, I Googled perhaps even more. Edison failed about 10,000 times, yet he kept going and succeeded. So are you able and willing to reach the goal? I mean, yes, I'm able, and yes, I'm willing. Of course, everybody is able. If you are here, then I'm pretty sure you're able and you're willing, of course. But you have to, and now the goal will turn into a theory. Your behavior will change, your results will change, and your theory will turn into a fact. You're capable of doing anything. I mean, literally anything. The moment you got born, it wasn't decided what you would do. I mean, you had to learn everything. Could you walk? No, you couldn't walk. Were you able to walk? Yes, you were able to walk. Were you willing to walk? Yes, you're willing to walk. Because if you're not, and if you're not a disabled person, then you can walk right now. So you're capable of doing anything. And you need to create a list of what you truly want in detail. You need to read it 2 times a day. Okay. The most important times of the day is the moment you wake up and the moment before you go to bed. So you have to write down your end goals, like what it is really you really want. You have to um allez, I forgot the word again. You have to go in detail. Okay. I mean, really, each time, why do you want to make money? Why do you want to be able to spend more time with your family? Why? You have to ask yourself the why and write as much down as possible. And why I say this, we have to read it 2 times a day, is because you need to keep motivated. You need to remind yourself what it is you're doing it. Why are you doing it? I stopped reading it because, when I go to bed, I'm always thinking what happened during the day and stuff like that. I'm reflecting my day. Um, and then I'm also thinking tomorrow is a new day and this is why I'm doing it for. And when I get up, the moment I wake up, it's like, okay, it's a new day. I have to get out of my bed because I have to get my son ready for school. And then when he's at school, I'm like, I have to work at my online business. I have to do something because this. And it's, you just remain motivated. You need to know in what direction you're going. So you need to be reminded of your goal, your destiny. So here I come with an example. Think about babies. It falls, it bumps its head, it cries, it bleeds, fall down on its knees, but it gets up and keeps going. I mean, I remember in the beginning when we moved into this house, and I think it was the first day my wife went off to work. Yeah, but she was working somewhere else then. I think it was the first day she had to go. So I was alone with my son. And he was it was in the beginning that he could walk. So he was running around in the house. And he was going from the living to the kitchen, from the kitchen to the living, from living to the kitchen. And suddenly I hear a big bang, bang, poof. So he fell down because, of his feet. He fell over his own feet. He fell down with his head on the corner of the of a closet in the kitchen. So he was crying very loud. It was a big bang. I heard. I was shocked. Like, what's happening? What's going on? He started crying immediately. What he did, he stood up and he came to me. He I didn't have to go to him to pick him up. He stood up and he came to me, crying and doing so. I took a bag from the fridge, a cold pack, and I put it on his head. It was a big bump, but you know that's what it is with children. So first they learn how to walk, then how to ride a bike and balance it, and then soon they were said, "Look, mom," or "Look, dad," without hands. The real purpose in life is to grow, and we always grow. I mean, and lots of people stop growing, and that's the problem. Life is about growing, life is about learning, and life is about experiencing. So you have to ask yourself what you really love to do, and that is what you're going to be good or to get good at. That's what your purpose is going to be all about. And in the beginning, you will say, "Yeah, That's really hard. What do I want to do? What do I like to do? Then you have to think about hobbies. Do you have any hobbies? Do you have any specific knowledge, stuff you know, that people are like, if I have a problem, I always come to him because he can solve this, he can fix this. And, you know, that's what you're going to get good at. And that's what your purpose is going to be all about. And it's also what will help you, reaching your goals, move towards what you want. And those people are called goal achievers, and they are happy and productive. And I mean, if we're reading this, I wrote this, a while ago. I mean, June 16th. So it's a couple of time ago, but um, goal achievers are happy and productive. And I recently made a post. I guess it was after my marriage. I edited this. Yeah, indeed. Um, because I'm happy. I mean, I'm happily married now. But I'm just happy in my life. Um, Being honest to yourself is important, but also to others. You can be honest to yourself, but you can say to someone else, yeah, if you join me, you will make 10,000 in 30 days, while you're already like 60 days doing it and still didn't make 30,000. So you have to be honest to yourself, but to others as well. But the same counts for being genuinely friendly and helpful. Not just being friendly and helpful because you have to, but just because, it's you, it's your nature, it's who you are. And I mean, that's really who I am. I can't stand, like, I mean, I don't remember when it was. My wife was finished with work or almost finished with work, and I had to pick her up because I drove her to their. I don't remember for what it was anymore. But anyway, I drove her. I think it was a Saturday, and so I was driving in my car with my son in the back, and I see like children. I think perhaps I don't know, 13, 14, 15 years, 16 years perhaps. But they're all with the bike. So if there would be 16 years, they would be with this with the scooter. Um, so and I saw like one getting slapped in the face. And so I drive by, I look at it, and I see like one's getting pushed and slapped in the face. And I was like, you know what, this can't be. When I went to school, I always had, like, respect, not fighting with others. Um, I wasn't a good boy, I was some kind of a troublemaker. But if I saw someone, I wasn't a bully. If I saw someone else was being bullied, I would, try help the guy that was getting bullied. So I felt I had to do this. So I turned the car around. I parked, in the middle of the street, and I opened my window and was asking like, "Is everything okay here? Is anything wrong? I see, any problems?" And I asked the guy, "Are you okay? Are you fine?" And then the guy that slapped him was like, a little timid and everything. And I was speaking to the guy that got slapped, and he was like, "Yeah, yeah, this happens." And I said to him, "No, if this happens, I mean, you have two options. Either, oh, you slap him back, or they are not your friends. I mean, they're just taking advantage of you." So I'm really genuinely friendly and helpful, because I can't stand you know if people said something wrong and then you get slapped. Yes, indeed. Like, but they're children. I mean, what can they say wrong? I mean, if someone would, like, um trying to abuse my wife or something like that, I mean, that's bad. So yes, then I would go in the clinch with him. But if someone is struggling with something, you know and I have the time for it, and usually I try to make time for it, and unless I'm already late and I have to drive a lot and far. But usually I will stop and I will look and try to help, even in the store, in if people are like having issues with picking up something, or if it's too high. And I'm not big, but I'm always trying to be, friendly and helpful. So a business is always about providing a solution to someone's problem, not only in the online world, but also in the offline world. It's all about providing a solution to someone's problem. You can say, I don't know. And then I would say, yes, of course, it is. If you're opening a restaurant, then your solution is providing food to someone who doesn't want to cook today and they want to go somewhere else to eat. So, it's a solution. If that person says, I don't feel like cooking, or I don't have enough stuff and nice, let's go to the restaurant, let's go to that restaurant, then you are the solution to that problem, to that person's problem. And it's always like that. If you if your TV breaks down, you need a new TV, where do you go to? To the store. You buy a new TV because that's the solution for your problem. So no matter if it's a physical product or a digital product or a service, an online business or just a business in general is always about providing a solution to someone's problem. So it is important that when you talk to people, everything's still okay? Yes, okay. So it's important that when you talk to people, that you actually, try. Okay, and I have to write it down here. Try. Um, oh, uh, always try to make them feel comfortable as much as possible, but also that you know what you're talking about and you want to actually help them. So if you are like, um, let's just affiliate marketing, Facebook organic, high ticket, you're brand new into this. I mean, it's your first week or your first 2 3 weeks. Um, then make sure that you went through the entire program, that you went through the entire course, um, that you know what you're talking about before you actually try and help them. I mean, if you're new at something, then it's logical that you're not, an expert. You're never an expert. Okay. There's always somebody who knows more, who knows better, always. But you know already something. So only share what you know. So and that you know what you're talking about. So if you and you want to actually help them. So like I said, being honest is important, but the same counts for being genuinely friendly and helpful. And the problem is people want guarantees if they buy a program or product, or service. Like, let's say if your TV breaks down and you go to the store, you want to buy a new TV, you want people will ask questions like, what can you do with it, how many cables in the back can you put on it, and stuff like that. Because people have like, here it is like some decoder we have to attach to the TV, but then you have like PlayStation, Xbox, the Wii U, then I have an Android box. What else do I have? I have the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One. So, you know, you need a lot of stuff to plug them in. So people want guarantees if they buy a product, they want a solution, like we already mentioned. So every guarantee anyone the solution to their problem, then we help them whatever it takes to get them the results. Like if you're working in a store and you're selling TVs, I mean, you help them get it to their car. But you can also offer, for example, like a delivery service, and you place it inside their house, and you install everything inside your house. So they just have to push on a button and the TV works. And then perhaps you even take the broken TV with you. I mean, you go as far as you want, but you want to make sure that the person is happy with the results. If they just want to say, yes, I want to buy the new TV, and you ask them, yeah, do you want it delivered? And then perhaps the person say, no, it's okay, I will take the box with me. That person is happy. Okay. You help them, you ask them the questions, they decided, they have the new TV. So it is important to provide at least basic support to your clients. So do not just sell and ignore them afterwards. Do not start making false promises. Only promise what you can actually deliver. Also about the mindset. This is all part of the mindset. This is part of how you behave, who you are, how you act. More about the mindset is that you have to know that you can do this. Okay. It's like I said before. Are you willing to do this? Are you able to do it? Yes, you're able. It's all only a matter of time, learning, and implementing. The If I still would have the ambition to become like an architect, like when I went to the first high grade school, um, then I would I would take my time to learn everything, and I would start implementing, doing stages, and I don't know if stages is internships, doing internships and stuff like that. But it takes time. It's like if you decide to become a doctor, you have to go years and years to school before you graduate as a doctor. And if you fail, then you have to do extra years. So, I mean, that's the mindset. If you want something in life, you have to go for it. Okay, no matter how long it takes, you have to go for it. So remember this: you're not so much different than so many other people who have started this journey or who are interested in this journey. But here it comes. Here is the catch. There are many people who succeed every day, but there are also many who give up after a month or two of not seeing the results they desire. And this is because of the mindset. Their desire is sell, 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 money, money, money. 99% of the times, if you don't get the results you want, it's because you're not doing everything that needs to be done. And this can be, for example, fear of doing something, fear of holding back. Now let's get back to what I said when you want to date with that girl, with that guy, but you're like afraid to ask it, or you're like shy and nervous. That's emotions, and that's usually this is not implementing the things you learn in a correct way. So imagine you're taking a course, I don't know if it even exists, on how to ask a person to date you, or how to be like your normal self with people you don't know. I think there is some kind of course for that, for people who are always shy and who wants to be become more open, become their true self. um so if you're not doing everything that you're being told because you're afraid, because you're shy, you're timid, then you won't be able to date that person. So if you feel down, upset, frustrated about anything of this online business, yeah, then reach out to me. Yeah, sorry, this is a part of my course. This is why a course I made myself, and still working on it. So just reach out to someone who has more experienced. I mean, the person that pulled you into this. You can even come to me. Um, if you feel down, upset, frustrated, it is important that you can speak with a person. Like my mentor, if I have like a bad day or a bad week, I'm still positive, but like inside in my mind, it's eating me, like you know, you're not making any results, you're bad, and it happens, that I'm still like thinking this, feeling this, and you have frustrations about something. Speak to, like, I reach out to my mentor. Okay, um he he didn't become, he's not just someone that helps me in my online business, but he also became like a very good friend, because if there's something wrong in my life, like if for example somebody close to me would die right now, I would speak with my wife and stuff like that, but I'm pretty sure that my online business would suffer. And so I would need to speak to my mentor as well, to just like get calmed down again, and to see what steps I should take, what steps to do, to keep in touch with my online business. So if you feel down, upset, frustrated about anything of of your online business, if you already started with anything but you don't see any results, then we can do a profile audit to see what you do is actually correct, and how to get you past those feelings, emotions, so you can keep moving forward and get past those roadblocks. You can see it's some kind of therapy, but we are not like anything certified, but um, it's always about perspective. Like if I show you, I have nothing. Do you have anything that I can show you? Yes, for example, these are just some sizes. I could heat all this paper like that, and I say, there is nothing on the paper. And you look at it, you will say, it's a lie. There is something on the paper. And I keep telling to you, there is nothing on the paper. The moment I turn it around, I didn't lie, because at my view, there is nothing on the paper. At your view, there was something on the paper. But at my view, there's nothing on the paper. So it's, a point of view, point of perspective. And when you're into something, you're breaking your head on it, you're frustrated, you're angry, or something happened to you in your life, it's hard to see around it. So you need people from another distance around you that can give you information on how to get past those roadblocks. Perhaps they went through the same, they know what to do, or they're just saying like, what, like you're afraid, like, okay, I can't put much time into this week, it will hurt my business, and you're like still thinking, oh no, I have to put all my time into this. And then the other person will say, what, um, everybody understands that you're going through this phase right now. So if you just be open about it, and instead of putting so much days and so much time into this, you do for the first week or the first 2 weeks only like lesser hours, lesser days, and then we make a new appointment that we talk again in 1 week, 2 week, and then we can see how we continue. It will help you so much. The relief, someone is supporting you, someone is like guiding you, and he's still not an expert because he's still learning from someone else, he's still learning new. So you will learn and see so many things, in this course. My apology. In these lessons that I'm taking you and that I've started with. So I mean, this is only lesson 3. You will learn and see so many things. So make sure to take notes that you do not forget anything. Like I said, mindset is important. Know that you can do this. Show up every day. Do the work that needs to be done. Never stop learning and growing. You will get results and success. Yes, okay. So that's about it. Let me stop sharing my screen now. So that's about the part that I have prepared. Um, but mindset is, still much more, so much more. 1 second. Let me check something very quickly. I still have around 13 minutes, so I want to talk about something, but I just want to check. My apologies with all the talking. Come on, open. So like like the title says, what is mindset and why do you need the specific one, is because like I said in the beginning, when I was a child, when I was a teenager, when I first started working, you always have a different mindset. The moment you say like, yes, I want to build an online business, you have to keep on building on your mindset. You have to keep learning, you have to keep growing. And the problem with these days is that people stop like living. And then you can say like, what do you mean stop like living? If they die, yes, if you die, then I think you stop living. But people who are like just working their pardon my language, asses off every day, like exchanging all their time for little money. Because if you do a full-time job, and you're not trying to do anything to change that, you just happy with the results, paying the bills, complain like everybody else that the prices are rising, and something breaks inside your house. Oh, I have to pay for it, it's so expensive. I mean, if you're doing that, then you've stopped living. Because, as I already said, life is growing, and the moment you stop growing, the moment you stop learning, is the moment you stop living. So, as a baby, you're being born, you learn how to talk, how to walk, how to write, how to ride a bike. Then you learn how to calculate, like 1 + 1 is 2 and stuff like that, the simple things. Um, Perhaps you learn music. You're learning, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're going to the gym, yeah, youth gym, you're taking music classes, you're doing other stuff, and you're learning. And suddenly you go to high school, you have to learn a lot of stuff that, in my opinion, I think lots of things you still don't need in daily life. But that's my opinion. And you learn and you learn and you learn, and suddenly you end learning, and most of the people, they get a job, and that's it. They're done. They don't learn anything. Perhaps how to work with a smartphone, if there's a new smartphone, or perhaps work with here and there some computer programs because they need it for work. But they're not like, growing as a person. They don't grow anymore. They are stuck in the rut. They're just stuck in the routine. Get up, go to work, bring the kids to school, go to work, get the kids from school, get back home, do some stuff in the home, watch television, go to bed. Day after, repeat. Day after, repeat. Day after, repeat. And people burn out. People are getting annoyed with life. Relationships end. And it's all part of that. It's all because, um, you know, you're starting getting annoyed and bored. So you're if you spend time with your partner, you're like, getting into arguments, getting into fights, relationships break, people don't speak anymore, people don't communicate anymore, because they're lots of time busy on the cell phone. I'm lots of times busy on my cell phone. So but I'm still working on my mindset. I'm still growing as a person. If I look from where I come, like 1 year ago, where my focus still was like, okay, now I'm making money passively and actively online. I want to add a third one now to my, and I really want to build an online business. I was, still like when I said, selling, because, I was also thinking like business, you need selling. Although I should have known better, because I used to help with my aunt on the market. And with the market, I mean, she had like, a truck when every day she went to another city to stand with clothes on the market. So I used to help with her a lot. I mean, during every summer holiday, every Saturday, there was a market I had to help. Every day there was like, a day that I didn't have any school or a holiday, then, the market keeps going. So each time, like, I mean, every school holiday, every full holiday, everything, most of the time there was a market. So I went and helped with my aunt, and she sold clothes. And but she was, and now when I'm talking to you, I'm just thinking about that, actually. So it's good for me to having these live trainings too, that she always tried to help people to, like, um, make sure that it fits, make sure that they like it, that it's beautiful. If they don't like the color, show different colors. And I was just like, more like helping to unload and load the truck. And then, if it's got too busy, that because sometimes it's got really busy that people say, hey, yes, I want to buy this and I want to buy this. So I just help, put it in a pocket, receive the cash, and stuff like that. But I wasn't really like, so that's what I think it was, just people come, they want this, you sell it, boom, finished. But it's so much more than that. Okay, it's like I said, helping. I mean, providing a solution, selling someone something that perhaps they don't need, because lots of people are thinking, but yeah, I don't need it. It can wait. But if you let it go, then you don't make any money. So it's actually like you can say that, yeah, you look, you can wear this in the weekends, you can wear this in the weeks, and now and then you need something new to wear. You cannot wear always the same. It's if it's washed 1,000 times, it can start fading, or it gets worn out and stuff like that. So you know that's the whole mindset thing about helping people, providing solutions for people, their problems and stuff like that. So yeah. um Starting from next week, the live will be always a little bit later, because now that I'm home every Wednesday, my son begged for me. I mean, really begging, really, oh, please, 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 for me to sign up on the weekly. How do I say it? The weekly helping reading. So they are making like small groups in the classes every Wednesday to help children with reading, and in tiny groups. So my son begged me to do this, so I signed up for it. Today we had the info session, which was from 9 till 9:45 this morning for me, and the meeting was at 10. But next week it will be around, for the reading sessions. It's every Wednesday, except when it's a school holiday or something like that. Normally it's every Wednesday, and it's from 9:30 till 10. Yeah, 10 o'clock, 10:05. So it's possible that I think I will schedule the live around 10:30, which means that it leaves me less time to cover lessons. So I will make sure to make the lessons really short. And because at Wednesday my son is done with school at 11:35, so now it's almost 11:30, so I will finish this live, then I will go pick him up. So usually 1 second. My apologies. So usually I have around like an hour and a half, and this will reduce to only 1 hour. So I hope next week we will be covering lesson 4. Once again, I'm not sure what it will be about. I will announce it, or I will have to think about it. Really, let me see. Yeah. So I will start diving into organic marketing, affiliate marketing. Um, how to make money with that, or free marketing, especially organic marketing. So not about paid ads, or any difficult websites and stuff like that. So it will be about that. So I wish you all a great day. If something is not clear, write it down in the comments. Make sure to put hashtag replay if you watch the replay. Give me some loves or likes. Make sure to comment. Make sure to ask questions if something is not understood, because it's boosting this video inside my group, and more and more people will join the group over time. And for me, it's important that people actually learn something about it. So have a nice day, and yeah, see you later. Bye bye.